everybody, and welcome to Movie Couple Live. This is a show where we talk about the latest in pop culture and movie news. I'm Wendy.
I'm Dustin.
And welcome to today's Saturday show. Today we're talking Loki Episode 4, the Nexus event, spoiler discussion.
We're also going to be talking about Lovecraft Country not being renewed for a second season.
Toys as well. Spider-Man No Way Home toys reveal some new suits and other unlikely action figures, but I'm glad that we got them. So we'll talk about all this on the show and so much more. You guys, welcome to our live stream. We are also want to say so sorry for missing this past Wednesday's stream, but honestly, my sleep schedule just got so screwed up that I really needed it. And I think it was a Thursday, right? Friday morning. So Thursday nights, just to give you a little bit of idea of what I'm talking about. Thursday night, we usually stay up and we watch The Bad Batch so we can film our reaction, upload our reaction / spoiler review, and then I'll edit. And usually if it goes fast enough, I can be done by 3. Sometimes it doesn't go fast enough, then I'm not done until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's usually the same case for Loki, but even later or earlier. So then I would say, like, instead of ending at 5, I would end at 6 or 7, depending on how things go. So I think I finished with the Bad Batch edit and it was published and everything by 4 a.m. Crawled into bed, and usually for the first half hour that I'm in bed, I actually can't fall asleep because there's just so much like anxiety, like you're coming off of that high.
And you're just going, gotta get this done. Your body's in that rush mode.
Yeah, and I just can't like fall asleep. But this time I went into bed and I think I zonked out within 15 minutes. And then usually when Dustin gets up to go to work at 7, I usually wake up because I hear like the shuffling. I've become a light sleeper. I'm not usually, when I was growing up, I was not a light sleeper. And all of a sudden now I am.
Well, even then, I mean, even before, like maybe like a couple years ago, you were still kind of like, I could make as much noise when I woke up in the morning. I remember waking when I used to work at Starbucks.
4 a.m. you'd be up. Yeah.
I'd be up super early and Wendy would just be like conked out. And I'd come home and
Those were the days.
She'd still be in bed when I would come home because it'd be a super early shift. And she'd just like curl up to me and go, oh, you smell like coffee. And then she would want to wake up and I'm like, need my sleep.
And he'd go back to sleep. But this time when he got, like, I had no idea that he went up and like went to work. I slept through my alarm and I didn't wake up until 10 a.m. on Friday. And I was like, oh no. But that's when I actually felt like I was finally caught back up on sleep. So I appreciate you guys, your understanding, and sorry about this past Wednesday. But we have tons to talk about today. And before we dive into it, we do have a fun little announcement / just a little news tidbit. It's not part of our news flash, but a little news tidbit there. So you guys probably saw, if you follow us on social media, whether it's at the Movie Couple Instagram or at mine, which is Wendy Lee Zaney Instagram, we recently went over to Six Flags Magic Mountain because we were invited by WB to check out a Space Jam themed party. So this was cool because this was at night, not during the day, thank God, because Valencia in the summer is very hot.
Oh my gosh, yeah, especially now this time of year.
Yeah, it's doable, but it's just a little uncomfortable. Like, you're a little sweaty. So in honor of Space Jam: A New Legacy, Warner Brothers hosted a super celebrity filled party. It was like a Six Flags Magic Mountain takeover party in the dark. And they had there's a picture of, and we'll do a vlog. I just have to edit it, so that's really up to no one else but me to do this.
Well, it's always really difficult too, because you have all this footage and then like you have to get it out as soon as you can.
I mean, the Avengers Campus has been in edit forever because I keep being unhappy with what I'm editing, so I keep going back and changing my mind on certain things. That's why it's taking so long, but it's coming. But also the Space Jam party, it's a much shorter vlog, so I imagine that would take less time. But they did have the cast there. You see LeBron, you see Don Cheadle. We actually saw Don Cheadle and LeBron, and the only reason why I even spotted LeBron is because of his height, not because he was, kind of mobbed by people. People actually weren't like mobbing them, surprisingly, and I don't know if it's because everybody was kind of like, I want to go on rides and I want to do this, and it's Six Flags at night, and there was a lot of stuff happening. There was music, and it was kind of, they both were, Don Cheadle had the hat on, LeBron had the sunglasses, though I don't know how you miss somebody so tall, but we were sitting down and snacking on the food because they also had some food for us, and I looked up and I went, Dustin actually said it first. You go, oh, that's Don Cheeto. And I went, that's LeBron. And it was like, we were sitting down at this table and they were just standing right next to our table. And I'm like, so I took my phone out. So I think there's a little reel on my Instagram if you guys want to check that out. But it was a fun-filled party, just kind of celebrate the upcoming movie Space Jam: A New Legacy. So like I said, the vlog is coming soon, and it was definitely a party in the dark. They had a DJ,
a lot of photo ops,
a lot of cool ones, like little boomerang ones that we got to try and do. So that was really cool. And it's just kind of cool to, I don't know, the sense of being in the theme park once it's closed down.
Yeah, and kind of have the theme park to yourself.
Yeah, so it was a really fun event, and I can't wait for you guys to see our vlog. All right, guys.
Also, I'm really excited about the movie. You know, it looks like really fun, really cute. Exactly what the Looney Tunes should be, kind of a thing. So I'm excited to see them back up on the big screen.
Yeah, Toon Squad. Go Toon Squad. We can't wait for the movie, which comes out July 16th, both in theaters and on HBO Max. So you have the option of viewing it in a theater if you want to, or view it from the comfort of your home. And with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to our news flash today. First topic up, you guys. Fireworks are back. Yay. They are back at Disney. Let me go ahead and put up this photo here. So Disney World, I believe, had their fireworks show back first. And here in Anaheim, we now have it. They're going to actually make it public this weekend, should I say. Perfect timing because it is 4th of July. So, you know, fireworks, big boom booms are everywhere. So here is one photo. This is not our photo. This is the photo that we pulled from let me go to the website, the WDWNT, which stands for WDW News Today. They were there when Disneyland did like a little test run for the full show test. And so I'm sure crowds, you know, as restrictions continue to lift here in LA, crowds were gathered, and now they can, you know, gather and do have spectators for the fireworks shows. That was one of the things that I do miss about not being able to go to the theme park. And I'm not saying Dustin and I, we don't too often sit there for hours for a good spot to wait for the fireworks show. We've done that maybe once or twice. But I think kind of being season pass holders, we just kind of have the luxury of returning whenever we want to.
So we would always just kind of stay there for, you know, we wouldn't stay there for the whole day when we had our season pass. We would go there, enjoy the atmosphere, maybe go on a ride or two, get some food, and then be like, okay, peace out. Kind of a thing. And I have to admit, I really miss those kind of visits because very low stress. But now it's kind of like, okay, no, you're spending a big budget ticket.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, we're staying there. We're getting full advantage of the entire park. Kind of a thing. And unfortunately, this time we're not going to be able to take Miss Navi. No. Because the Kettle Club is not open yet. But it's probably a good thing because then Miss Navi will not be having to worry about any of the boom booms.
She, like most pets, she doesn't like fireworks. Falcor was a lot better with fireworks, but she really doesn't like noises. She gets freaked out very easily. So, you know, like around this time of the year is actually pretty stressful for her. And obviously she's not a backyard dog. We don't have a backyard for her to run around in. So should we just stay inside with her on 4th of July, and she just kind of crawls under one of our chairs and hides because the boom booms really freak her out. But we are excited that Disneyland and Disney World, they're bringing back the fireworks. A lot of people, like, that's their thing. You know, for some people it's the merch, for some people it's the food, like us, for some people it's the parade, and for some people it's fireworks. So you know, if you enjoy the fireworks, they are now back at Disneyland. And also another update is, and I want to say they also did this for Magic Kingdom, but I did read this about Disneyland, is that they are changing their greeting, you know, their 10-minute warning before not a warning, but
10-minute announcement
that the fireworks show is starting. And you know how the voice comes over the speaker and it says, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They've actually taken that out to kind of follow up on their inclusivity policy. So instead of the gender pronouns and things like that, they actually just say dreamers. Which I feel like that could have worked from ages ago. Like because they talk about, you know, your dreams, and and dreams will come true. Yeah, things like that. So I kind of love that. So that's just a little bit of tidbit for you guys. And let's go ahead and move on to our next piece of news flash. And we're talking the old guard, you guys. I'm super excited about this. So the old guard, they have confirmed that they are back with, they are going to begin filming early next year. And Charlize Theron says that the sequel script is complete and it's official. And I believe they're filming, I want to say in Greece, unless I'm mixing it up with another piece of news that I read. But I am super excited that they are returning for a sequel, because they left the show, I feel like, or should I say the movie, really open-ended, like for a sequel. So if they needed if they wanted to do a sequel, they could. If they wanted to leave it alone, they could. But I've been hoping and waiting for the announcement that they are doing the sequel, because I really feel like there's a lot more story to be told. For example, her lover Quinn.
Yeah.
You know how at the very, sorry guys, spoilers, but this movie also came out last year, so I feel like it's kind of okay. We saw Quinn now in flesh blood, not on the bottom of the sea floor, inside the Iron Maiden. So I feel like this movie is definitely going to dive into the earlier lives of these eternal folks.
I hope so, because give us a little bit more of background story. And that was something that I just really loved, was how they created these characters and they had a history together. And just that was something, it was the camaraderie between all of the characters that really made this just an amazing action flick. And being able to explore that and being able to see more of it is something that I really was excited to hear about, that they were hopefully going to be able to do.
Yeah.
But above all, I mean, as soon as I thought they announced that they were making a second one pretty quickly after they released this first one, because it had such good reviews. So, and we were sitting there going, oh, we can't wait for the second one.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear that they're going to start filming, and it makes sense that it's taken a little bit of time because of 2020.
The writing and everything. They want to make sure they have their story fleshed out. And of course, I feel like there's so much to explore. I think Nikki and Joe, I think that's the couple.
Yeah.
Right. That's they're definitely confirmed to come. I think I would like to imagine if you didn't bite it in the first movie, you're going to come back in this one. I'm curious to find out how they're going to handle the Charlize Theron story, because we can see that she is not able to regenerate and she now is not really like immortal anymore. So because time runs out for them apparently as well. I like that was an interesting twist, because then that makes it bit of a more high risk thing doing what they do.
Yeah.
Is now, instead of like, we can regenerate, right? She actually doesn't. So, and is Quinn coming back wanting to seek revenge, because all she knows is that she got put into the thing, and Charlize Theron's character, Andy, right, never came back for her.
Yeah.
I think she said she tried and she couldn't find her, but it's so I think there's when the two finally meet up, I imagine they have a lot to talk about. So we can't wait for the second one. We probably won't get this movie until like end of 2022 or maybe even early 2023.
Probably, because if they're not going to start filming until 2022, then it's going to probably be at the very tail end of it or at the beginning of 2023.
Yeah, so we'll see. But we're so excited to hear about the old guard, but we're not excited to hear about Lovecraft Country. You guys, not returning for a season 2, which like totally, I had a photo and I don't remember what I did with it. So Lovecraft Country will not be returning for a season 2, which I don't remember, because you guys know, if you're been viewing the channel for a long time, you guys know that Dustin and I did a bunch of spoiler reviews for Lovecraft Country. We really loved it. I went ahead and read the book after the show was over. Really enjoyed how they handled the show and all the different aspects that they put in. And there's so many cool stories that they added. And I felt like there were more for other characters, more stories to be told. But I also felt like, because they reached the end of the book, if they decided to just let this be like a limited series and just have a one-off season, I was totally okay with that. But the fact that they were actually planning for a season 2 and all of a sudden just kind of dropped out of nowhere. In fact, this is the statement that HBO put out, and they say, "We will not be moving forward with a second season of Lovecraft Country. We're grateful for the dedication and artistry of the gifted cast and crew, and to Misha Green, who crafted this groundbreaking series. And to the fans, thank you for joining us on this journey." So I'm kind of confused because I couldn't find, and if you guys know, drop it in the comments, but I couldn't find any reasoning for them to have dropped. It's just like, okay, we're just not going to do it.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it had a pretty good watch rate too. A lot of people
1.5 million
yeah,
tuned in or something like that.
So, and I mean, just because the series, they don't have any more original material to work with, just like one book, that doesn't mean they can't just start going off on their own little story tangent. Right. And I think Lovecraft Country is a really good kind of springboard to kind of start being able to take some modern day events and start like implementing a lot of this conversation into your story.
Yeah, it's current they made it current and topical, which I liked. And also for a lot of people, which we found out through, I guess, both The Watchmen and I think it was this show as well, didn't know about Black Wall Street or the Tulsa Massacre.
Tulsa, the Sunset
Towns, or something like
Country,
that.
Counties.
Yes, that
Sunset Counties, and that is something that actually I learned about through a couple different HBO movies, you know, from Watchmen to Lovecraft. It's kind of like, it's sad that this is where we get our history lessons from.
Yeah, kind of Dustin and I actually discussed this, how like, do you remember learning about this in school? No. Do you? No. Yeah, it's really interesting. So I see Movie Bunch Debbie in the comments here saying Misha Green was teasing a season 2, and she indeed did, and she tweeted out even this little graphic, which I put up here. The next generation, season 2 of Lovecraft Country begins in a new world, and that new world is a country that sits precisely where the United States used to sit. Welcome to the sovereign states of America. Let me go ahead and take off this banner here so you guys can see what the keys are, just so you have an idea. And when the second I looked at this, I kind of went, oh, this kind of Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
A little bit, because it's no longer the United States. But yeah, so I can see that her and perhaps the writers were already working on this, and now that it's canceled, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about if it's going to get picked up by another network, if they're going to go maybe the Netflix route. I don't know.
And that's what I was thinking too. I'm kind of like, just because HBO isn't picking it up, that doesn't mean some other streaming service can't pick it up as well. I mean, if HBO is kind of like, oh, you know what? Hey, Netflix, we'll sell it to you for this amount, or Hulu, or
if I were Netflix, I'd pick it up.
Yeah, because I think there's so much lore and so much possibilities that you can deal with, that you can actually start to manage or create with this springboard of material. I think would be really fun to start talking about what would happen if magic became more prevalent in certain groups, because, you know, I'm not going to spoil what happens at the end of Lovecraft, just in case you guys haven't seen it.
It's on HBO Max. Go watch it.
HBO Max. Go and check it out. Sponsored. But I think there's a lot of really cool things that you could actually start to just explore and just have a lot of interesting conversations with this material.
And they also can't use the excuse like, oh, well, that's the end of book 1. Like, that's total BS if they use that as an excuse. We saw what happened with Game of Thrones.
Yep.
I mean, Game of Thrones, the show, the books aren't even finished, but they managed to have 8 seasons of the show that went in, you know, not the route of the books. We can say the same thing for Handmaid's Tale, which there was one book, and then they've, you know, continued the story with that, as well as Big Little Lies. They also did that. So like, they can't use that as an excuse.
Well, they can. I mean, if they want to, but
I guess they can, but it's also then like, other shows have done it. So like, really, can you use that? I guess you can, but I think people are going to be like, well, and then they'll drop all the examples of all the other shows like we just listed. So got some comments here. Would love Apple to pick it up on Apple TV.
That would be cool
another possibility as well. Yeah, there's some good stuff on Apple Plus TV, which I continue to forget that I have, and I should be actively watching stuff on there. So
I still have to go back and watch what is that, the Wolfwalkers? I hear that's a really good animation that I want to check out.
Oh, it's on there if you wanna watch it. Shane White says R.I.P. Lovecraft Country. Yeah.
Well, for now, there's been plenty of times when, you know what also would be kind of cool is to do like an animation of Lovecraft Country, because I think you could pull off a really kind of, especially if it takes place many years after the original story and you place it in like modern technology times. And you can make a really cool animation of Lovecraft Country.
I think that'd be really cool too. Blade GTR here says, yeah, and look how that turned out. Game of Thrones, good example. Game of Thrones got a lot of flack for those last season because they didn't have a book to follow. But and I will agree definitely about Game of Thrones. We weren't completely satisfied with the final season of GOT, but I will say with Big Little Lies and Handmaid's Tale, I really like how those shows kind of went in their direction. And that's kind of the trajectory I was hoping to see with Lovecraft Country.
I think it wasn't the fact that the reason why season 8 was so, I'm going to say, disappointing, wasn't because they ran out of materials. I think there were a lot of other factors that kind of fed into it. Of the showrunners were seemingly didn't really care as much about the property as they did originally, and I feel like there were other factors besides the fact that they no longer had a book to follow.
I guess so. Well, and also just another tidbit. MK Songbird here writes Justin Crowell's tweet about the cast of Lovecraft Country setting aside time in expectation of a second season.
Oh, that's got to be
Jonathan
such
Majors,
a bummer.
Jurnee Smollett, all of them, they're busy. They're working actors because they're all so talented, and I'm so happy to see them popping up in various shows, like in Loki, and Jonathan Majors is going to be King the Conqueror, and
that I'm super excited
Fall,
about.
and Jurnee Smollett's doing amazing, which like if you didn't know anything about her and then you saw her, and like for me the first time I saw her was actually not Lovecraft Country. I think it was Birds of Prey, and I was like, oh God, I love her. And she's continued to showcase her talents. So the fact that it looks like they all had such a good time. Jamie Chung as well as in the show, had such a good time working on the show, and for them to be like, yeah, we're all gonna come back, do season 2. Like I said, there's tons of story to be told, and now we may or probably won't get to, hear these stories. So that's definitely a bummer. All right. Blade says, I will agree with you on that, Dustin. I think the showrunners did go off on their own for the sake of shock value.
Yeah.
GOT.
And it's just the fact that especially when you have a series of novels like Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin, he's building stuff up, and then if all of a sudden and you're following that, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, let's change some things up, and you're not going back and making sure that it kind of aligns with everything else that you've said.
Yeah,
it can be very disruptive. It can be very shock value, and kind of like, oh, we don't want, what, never mind. I won't go into that because that would be spoilers.
Do you feel like enough time has passed?
Yeah, you're right. So, where it really does feel like Jon Snow should have been the one to take down the Night King, but they switched it to Arya.
I didn't have a problem with that. But yes, I would have also loved to. It's because I love Arya.
It was his struggle from day one. No, he's the one. I get Winter is coming. Winter is coming. The dead are walking. It is 100% his battle from the beginning. Yes, and if you switch it all of a sudden at the end, it's kind of like, well, this was kind of Jon Snow's story.
And that's why you and I didn't really enjoy it. It felt like it was all over the place. Like they had a plan, but they also didn't have a plan at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're sad to hear about Lovecraft Country. Maybe fingers crossed for another network if they're able to pick it up and save the show. I'd love to see a season 2.
And there are a couple people pushing for a season 2. So
the fans crossed. I would like to think.
Fingers crossed.
All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our final topic in Newsflash before we get into Loki and the Bad Batch discussion. And let's talk toys. So Spider-Man No Way Home Toys reveals a new spider suit. So we've got some photos here that I pulled. This is from the Marvel.com website. As you can see here, a variety of different toys, from masks to web shooters to action figures to, of course, Funko Pops. And this reveals some new suits. There is also, actually, I have a better picture here if you guys are into collecting Pops. So not only we get Ned and MJ Pops, we also have 3 different Spidey suits. We've got this black and gold one, which kind of reminds me, it's got like, I don't know if because it's colored black and gold, it's kind of like Killmonger, Black Panther type.
Oh,
to me, maybe a little Wakanda tech in there. The one in the middle screams 100% like Doctor Strange. It's got the little orb. I don't know. I can't tell because Funko Pop's like you know, it's a little bit more
you have to
not
get
a caricature, yeah. So, but I like that, and then the little flight suit at the end there. So, do we think? And asking to you, Dustin, and to the chat as well, do you guys think that these suits are donned by the one and only Peter Parker or other Spider-Man?
Oh,
Spider-Men.
That's actually a really good question.
Spider people.
I think maybe the one in the middle is the one that is Peter Parker, or at least Tom Holland's Peter Parker.
Yes.
The black and gold could be a different one, a different Spider-Man, and the upgraded Spider-Man. I think that's what they called that one, that was with the webbing on the wings. But what I find really interesting is when you look at the Doctor Strange Funko, he doesn't have like his normal suit. It actually looks like an unbuttoned kind of like you know how
kind of
they
like
had
Thor in New York.
Yeah,
but he's got his cloak. He's got a shovel. He's
got his cloak, but it looks kind of like a raggedy button-up shirt with a gray V-neck on with just some slacks, and also his shirt is unbuttoned.
Yeah,
so he looks kind of like this is
probably a multiverse Doctor Strange, maybe.
Yeah, to where he's not is the Sorcerer Supreme, but he's not he's not as disciplined as he is in this MC universe, to where maybe he's still struggling with alcoholism, or he's still struggling with the loss of his previous life, or something has happened to make him to be a little depressed. But this is the Doctor Strange that has come and been like, everything's messed up in this multiverse. And he's having to dig something up, hence the shovel.
Potentially, maybe, yeah. That's a good way to go. And this just makes me more excited to see the movie when it comes out. And before we dive into some of the other action figures and toys that they have, we've got a question here from Noah, who writes, which Spider-Man do you like? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, or Tom Holland? Today is one of the Spider-Man actors' birthday. Tobey Maguire, happy birthday to Tobey Maguire, the OG Spider-Man. So, Dustin, do you have like a fave Spider-Man?
I have to say, right off the top of my head, it's Tom Holland. Because Tom Holland does a great job of being a good Peter Parker and a good Spider-Man.
Yes.
Tobey Maguire did an amazing job on being awkward Peter Parker. Tobey Maguire does those kind of characters very, very well. However, I didn't like his Spider-Man. Spider-Man's supposed to be a little bit of a quick whip,
quick thwip.
But I'm saying, like, he makes fun of the villains that he's fighting.
He's a fast talker.
He's a little bit more of a fast talker.
He's no Deadpool, like, and with the quick with the mouth, but he's pretty quippy.
To where there was only one instance in all of the Tobey Maguire movies where I saw that, and that was in the very beginning of the first movie, where he's fighting in that cage ring, where he's first figuring out his spider powers.
And with the homemade costume.
With the homemade costume. And he's against, I can't remember what the wrestler's name was in the movie, but he goes, that's a nice costume. Did your boyfriend make it for you?
Oh, right.
And that was the only time that he kind of was starting to tease the villains that he fought.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man, but not as good of. He was a little too cool for school, kind of Peter Parker.
Thank you, Blade.
I keep on wanting to. I was like, the boulder. I'm like, no, wait, not the boulder.
No, that's Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was thinking, I'm the Rhino.
Oh my
Giamatti.
God, that was so bad.
I think in the same line as you, I really enjoyed all three actors' take on Spider-Man, but I agree with you. I felt like I really liked Tobey's Peter Parker, same as too I really like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, because it was that quippy, fast talking, you know, giving his enemies some like talk back and insult them a little bit, because he's like, I already know I'm better than you, I'm gonna get out of the situation anyways. But I wasn't convinced with his Peter Parker to be true to like the comic and the like Spider-Man cartoon, because he was just so cool.
Yeah,
he was so cool and suave, and there was a little bit of awkward between like Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, as we saw in the first movie, the Amazing Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, it was the Amazing Spider-Man.
But I felt like he was too like, he was like real smooth, and also like the age didn't work for me either for either one of them. And Tom Holland sits at that perfect age, the right age, and I think he really has the right balance for both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So, yeah. And he's in, I mean, all three again, excellent. So I don't want to say like, oh, this person's acting sucked. It's definitely not, none of that. It's really more of a personal preference. And before we go ahead and dive into the other toys here, let's get grab this super chat from Boogietron 2000.
Thank you, Boogietron.
Thank you so much for your support. Boogietron writes, doubtful, but pretty curious to know, in your opinion, do you think we'll ever get the OG red and blue? In the toy, look, if we're gonna get the OG red and blue, I want it to be on Tobey Maguire.
Yeah,
honestly, in the film.
And honestly, we actually, in a sense, might get that, because if we have Tobey Maguire in this new iteration of Spider-Man, No Way Home, we actually might see it. So I'm really excited to kind of see how what they decide to dress each one of these Spider-Men in. Yeah. And it really does look like that's the direction that they're going. Yeah, unless something happens to the Tom Holland suit, and if he's like in that multiverse, in that timeline where him and Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker exist in the same timeline, Peter can say like, hey, I don't use this anymore, but you can try this one, and it's the OG suit. Yeah. That would be also an interesting way to bring it in. So it's kind of like from one Spider-Man passing it onto another Spider-Man for the greater good, for their glorious purpose, if you will. Yeah, like probably what Tom Holland will just get super beat up, and his suit is just torn, and the other one isn't ready or broken, something, right? And he has to, before it gets upgraded, one of the other Spider-Men, and he's like looking at it and going, Is this just spandex? Does it do this? No. Does it do this? No. It's literally just spandex. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man didn't need help with any of that. He was able to do it all with his regular suit. He made it at home. Yeah, and that's true. That's true. Or I would love to see him go to a costume shop and buy one like in Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales, where he has like the eyes cut out. Sure, why not? And he just make it meta. Make it a little meta. And then he'll walk by like another players like soon. They're like, amateur. What is that? Store-bought? We got another super chat here from Candles Jr. Thank you so much for your support. You write, is alternate timeline the same as parallel universes? I think alternate timelines have the same Peter Parker that look alike, but parallel universe has Peter Parkers that look different. So interesting. I think it's kind of tomato. Okay. Kind of a thing. I think they're the same thing, and they can kind of fall into the same category. They might just be a little bit more specific. Alternate timeline, I think, is something where you're talking about. No, I think they're kind of the same thing. I kind of agree with what they're saying. The alternate timeline could have the same Peter Parker look as we saw in Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. Right. But just like a different kind of persona and different arc and things like that, versus the parallel universe. Then we're kind of crossing to like the multiverse. So it is a Spider-Man. It is a Peter Parker, but y'all look different. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's what I think in my head anyways. I think this is a good way to kind of decide it, is that an alternate timeline is where the world is still the same. It still looks and feels like the same world. However, one thing changed, kind of thing, like Spider-Man making a different choice. Parallel universe is where it's a different universe. Yes. To where it's a little bit more it looks completely different, and you might have a completely different looking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But an alternate timeline is usually just one little thing has changed, or a couple little things have changed. So yeah, where you have Peter Parker, where you have like the blonde Peter Parker, where everyone loved Spider-Man, but an alternate timeline is where Peter Parker in the what is it called, the sweatpants.
Sweatpants Spider-Man.
But an alternate universe would be a Spider-Gwen or a Miles Morales.
I would die if they put Miles Morales in this movie.
God, I want to see it so bad.
I don't even care if it's... Do you think it'll be animated? Wouldn't it be cool if it was like Into the Spider-Verse
an
animated form, and then we see like animated Tom Holland?
That would be kind of cool.
See, that'd be cool. I don't know how they're going to do this like multiverse type of a thing, but I'm very excited. But let's go ahead and thank you guys so much for your super chats. All the super chats goes basically we set it aside into a pot of like what we need for upgrades. For example, one of our lights blew out. You know, you guys, I think we were live streaming at the time. No, I don't think we were live. I think it was right before we went live, and it went pop, and then the wire started smoking, and I was like, unplug it. So it goes to, you know, things like that, or upgrading equipment such as like camera, laptop, and all that stuff.
Sound equipment.
So
you know, even though Navi's supposed to be in charge of our lighting and sound, what's going on with all of this, Navi?
She likes to bump into the camera stand, to the tripod, as we live stream. So if you guys ever see like a tiny shake and we're not freaking out, it's not an earthquake. It's just our dog. All right, guys, moving on to the other. Hold on a second. Doop. Uh-oh.
Oh, you got to take...
Boop, boop. There we go.
There we go.
Moving on to the other toys that we've got going on here. We've got different sets. I'm kind of, you know, the kid in me wants it's the center bottom square. That's a Nerf web shooter.
That is awesome.
Wrist. I want that so bad. And of course, we see the black and gold suit. Again, these are the Titan Hero series. The one on the left, anyways, from Hasbro. And then the one on the right looks very much reminiscent of like the Iron Spider suit that he donned in Infinity War. Yeah. But nonetheless, and I like the little box. It's got a little cut off, but in the graphic, but it says Thrip Blast. Thrip. And they have a mask, of course. And then we have some of these other toys. Again, the black, red, and gold. The black and gold. And I think what pulled my eyes immediately is that J. Jonah Jameson has an action figure of his own. And I can hear the voice.
I cannot wait to hear Spider-Man's a menace.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. I'm just shocked. And there's also Lego sets and stuff like that. We know a couple of our movie bunch loves Lego. So we saw a couple of like Lego sets. I think it's, you know, this is a prime example of, yes, Marvel Legends. Thank you so much, Debbie. That last photo set there, and I'll put it up again. These are the Marvel Legends, these ones.
I love the design too, because one is the fact that when you get these kind of action figures, you really want to be able to pose them and be able to get a couple different, like I have our friend Brandon gets all of these action figures, and he has like this glass case, and he's able to put all of these action figures in different like poses with each other, and he does kind of like a Super Smash Brothers kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's like set up with an overall theme or a scene that he puts them in, which I think.
And he changes them like every like couple of months.
We see a lot of collectors do this, especially working hosting from time to time at Sideshow. You really sometimes get to see people's setup, and it's just like the amount of care into like the glass cases, the lighting, the design, and like also clean, like especially if you know, if it's like an open case kind of a deal, if it's not enclosed, because then you can take out and swap easily. I don't know. The cleaning and like making sure the dust is not getting in there. Like I literally only have 2 6-scale figures from Hot Toys, and they're just out. They're not in a case. They're just out. I couldn't stand that I was just going to put them in a box and leave them somewhere. Like I felt like if I was going to purchase and have a 6-scale figure, it needs to be out and displayed.
Yes.
So they are, but we definitely don't have, well, we also have an apartment, so we don't really have the room to set up like a giant case. I also don't have the funding to keep buying.
I would love to be able to do that though.
So expensive. We would have to shift everything, like instead of Disneyland and experiences and travel, we would funnel our money that way.
Yeah.
And I just don't see myself giving up like various travel experiences that we can save up for. So but that's just me speaking. But I do geek over all the new statues and figures and things like that. So I love it. I love that these toys kind of gave us a little bit of a little sneak peek into different suits in the film,
and also different themes, and also what's going to go on in the movie, kind of a thing. Gives us little hints to where, like, okay, now we know what Doctor Strange might be up to because he has a different kind of costume on. So I'm just excited. Oh, I've just been excited to see this movie ever since they announced all the different things that they're going to be doing with the multiverse, and I'm like, yes.
Kendall's Jr. writes, love the pointed finger. It's not J. Jonah Jameson if you don't have a pointed finger there. Gavin writes, the black and gold could be a suit that he needs to use to fight Electro.
That would make sense because he wants something that's maybe a little bit more electric. I want to say like fire retardant, but the way it would be,
it repels.
Yeah, electrical resistance. So it would kind of have like that rubber more of a vibe, and so then and then the gold is what kind of takes it and like redirects it. So like if he gets
like
hit,
a lightning rod.
Yeah. So it reflects it away from him. But yet there's parts of him that are protected by the rubber.
We got a correction corner flying in from Noah here. Noah writes, today is actually Tom Cruise's birthday, not Tobey Maguire's birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Noted. And happy birthday to both actors anyway.
And yet Tom Cruise is still going to be doing insane stunts.
Mission Impossible in space. Well, you guys, we've reached that part of the show where we're going to go ahead and dive into spoiler discussions for The Bad Batch and Loki. So if you have not caught up on the latest episodes of both of those shows, we suggest you maybe hit a little pause on this video and make sure you're caught up with both of those episodes before you dive in, because we're going to talk some main plot points and maybe twists and reveals in the show. We don't want to ruin it for you, and that is our spoiler warning. And if you guys haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button. Really helps us out here on YouTube. We are always trying to figure out the YouTube algorithm, and it's just a big mystery. I don't know how to do it, but I keep hearing that thumbs up helps. So if you enjoy the conversation, if you enjoy interacting with us and our topics, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We do things not just live streams on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but there's also trailer reactions, movie reviews, TV show reactions, vlogs, and so much more. So go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and dive into the spoiler discussion for The Bad Batch. We're now on episode 10. This one is called Common Ground. And this is now 10 episodes in. The Bad Batch and Omega were actually separated for this mission, not because one was kidnapped or somebody got left. Well, she did get left behind technically, but they got the next mission from Sid, which is to go to Raxus to help it is a separatist. Who is he? Like
a senator.
Senator.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, what is the name of the planet? The Raxus. Thank you. Raxus was the capital of the separatist movement. So going there to save a separatist senator is kind of, and for the Bad Batch, is kind of like, wait a second. We were fighting these guys not too long ago. But I found this to be a very important episode because it's showing how the Empire is now being all encompassing.
Yes.
It's now showing what the consequences for the separatists are, and that pretty much no one is escaping, whether you were part of the separatists or whether or not you were part of the Republic. Everyone is now being sucked in to
because now
Empire.
The greater enemy is the Empire, and you can really see the senator there struggling with. He's like, I don't want to be just a puppet for the Empire, like living in fear and kind of just say what they want me to say. And he's like, I have a responsibility to my people. And you see that turn in him where he was going along with it, doing what the Empire wants him to do, and finally he's like, no. That's not what I'm about. I have been doing all this just for my people. So, he went ahead and risked his life, and which is what prompted his droid to contact Sid for the Bad Batch to get him out. But Hunter made the right choice, I think, in saying, I can't take Omega with me. They got 2 bounty hunters on her back. Technically, it's just only 1 now because Fennec's kind of backed off, but they don't know that. We know that as the
Fennec
audience
is kind of a good bounty hunter. Kind of a thing that she's there to kind of protect her or keep her out of danger.
Right. Due to her mission and her promise to the Kaminoan scientist. But again, the Bad Batch, Hunter doesn't know that, and they've become quite protective of Omega. They've created quite a bond with her. So they're like, you can't come. I'm not putting you on a planet full of, the Imperials. So army there. So they leave her behind, and we were kind of curious to see how the Bad Batch would do without Omega, because I think she's become really resourceful and really helpful, and she's really learned and progressed and grown a lot through the last couple of episodes.
And she's also the one who, remember, she kind of rescued herself from Cad Bane. True, there were situations that allowed her to be able to escape, but it was one of those things that she set up a lot of those situations herself to be able to get out of the jail cell, to trick the droid, to be able to contact the Bad Batch, kind of a thing.
Yes.
Omega is turning out to be a very important member of the crew. And one thing that I loved watching was a video that talked about why the Bad Batch kept on losing at the beginning of this season, and it was because the removal of Crosshair, because he was their scout. He was the one that kind of did the surveillance, and now that Omega is kind of taking that role of the planning, the strategy, showing how good she is at strategy, she's probably going to be the one that brings the Bad Batch back to their original amazing functionality.
Yeah, I mean, she certainly serves an important role. And I love in this episode that even though she was left behind, she wasn't happy about it. She followed orders and she didn't go wandering off on her own. She stayed put. And yes, Hunter wanted her to be a little bit more low profile. But the fact that she was so good at holochess, I think there's another name for it, but I can't remember. It starts with a D. That Sid was like, I mean, I could totally use this to my advantage. And of course, there was kind of like a pseudo underground holochess tournament where Omega was just, winning and winning and winning so much so that she paid off their debt to Sid. So I think the more and more as the series go on, the more and more Hunter is starting to see that she's really, she used to be, a little bit more naive because she's never been off Camino before. She's never dealt with XYZ, but her mind is really brilliant. Her learning ability is, I think, is obviously high because of who she is.
Yeah.
And I just love that she's good at strategy, and he's learning every day that, like, I don't really need to babysit her anymore. Like, she's definitely grown past that. Now she needs to be more of a team than anything else. Yes.
One thing that I do worry about is that, keep a low profile, but they were having this huge tournament of holochess, and there were so many people who are like, wow, this little blonde girl is kicking everyone's butt.
Yeah.
How long until someone hears, oh, wait a second, there's a bounty on a little blonde girl that's really smart? Hey, I saw one of those in this bar with Sid.
That could leave a track for Cad Bane to follow, because, they're always listening and they got eyes everywhere. I like what Rob here says. Omega versus Chewie.
Oh,
Chewie would be so mad.
I think Chewie and Omega would do really well.
You think so? Because he's so obsessed with the game?
Oh, true. She probably would beat Chewie.
I think she beat him because she's the strategist, and I feel like Chewie sometimes is like, kind of like my mentality when I play strategic games. I don't have a strategy. I just like Leroy. I like to Leroy Jenkins in and just like, let's do it. Let's just swing the axe and kill. Blade says favorite moment in this episode was the two bar patrons shaking their head at Sid for admonishing Omega. That was great because, like, those two, it's like her bar is rarely ever full, and those are the only two people in the bar, voiced by our faves from Critical Role, Liam O'Brien and Sam Riegel. So it's always when we see them pop up, I'm like, yeah, Critical Role people. Woo! I thought that was really hilarious. But other than that, really enjoyed this episode, just learning a little bit more about Omega and the relationship between her and the rest of the Bad Batch. And with that said, you guys, we are looking forward to the next episode. And as you guys know, we are still doing reactions for the Bad Batch. So you can check out all of those videos on our channel, and we will have a new one up this Thursday coming up. Probably 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning PT. All right, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get into our final topic for today. And that is the spoiler discussion for Loki episode 4, the Nexus event. This was hands down my favorite episode of the series so far, with the mid-credit scene.
I can't believe just how crazy this episode was.
Yeah.
And because it revealed so much. in just the very beginning, and then what happened near the end. I mean, there were so many just reveals and shocking moments. It's kind of like they placed all the ones that should have been in like the last episode and just went, let's just put them all in this episode, to where you're just like,
and it was still under 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Which from an editing perspective, it's great. As a consumer, I wanted more. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into some of our favorite moments and notable things that we want to talk about. So let's start with, we get to see young Sylvie in this one. And who comes through the time door? None other than Renslayer herself. So when Sylvie said this is a plan in the making for years, it's literally years, like from her childhood. Got it?
Yeah,
there we go. All right, we just had to plug in our laptop so we don't lose you guys like we did before. So this is really important to see not only how she was taken, but who did it. And later on in the show, in the elevator, when it was Loki, Sylvie, and Renslayer, you know, Sylvie asked, "Why'd you do it? What was the reason? What was it about me that caused the Nexus event?" And it was such a throwaway from Ravonna. She was like, "I don't remember." I'm like, "Oh, I think you remember."
Yeah.
I think she remembers, and she's just BSing. So I hope we get that reveal, because Sylvie left her alive at the end because she was like, "No, you're telling me everything." And I hope we get it, because I'm so curious as to why. And then after that, is of course we saw that she was just kind of like a hunter, just like the rest, like Hunter C, like Hunter C15 and Hunter C20, and she wasn't the judge then. Somebody else was the judge at the time.
I do have to admit, there is a possibility that she really does not remember. That
really?
She is that's one, it's not the fact that it's been so long, but more along the lines of they really don't, like, what is it called? The hunters really don't know. They are actually there to take the variant, destroy the timeline, put them in front of the judge, and that's it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. So there is a possibility that she is telling the truth. And it's more along the lines of, I don't know and I don't care. You're a variant,
that works.
And my job is to take you, destroy your timeline, and put you in front of the judge, kind of a thing. But I do agree with you that the way she said, I don't know, really does kind of seem like she's hiding something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
So it really could be one or the other. I just wanted to play a little devil's advocate on that one. But I mean, just all of the things that Ravonna is, that you're now finding out about her character, is exactly what we've been like, there's something up with her. What's going on? Navi! Okay,
it's time to put her down. This is why we don't. This is why we don't bring her up on the show, because she
started to wiggle from my lap.
She's so squirmy. She was like, "I want to get down."
She wanted to move to your lap.
Well, my
because
lap
I stopped petting her.
She's not comfortable on my lap because my lap isn't as roomy as Dustin's, because I'm a whole foot shorter than Dustin. So she gets about a good 5 minutes in on my lap before she gets super squirmy, and I get super squirmy, and then I'm like, I gotta go ahead and put her down. So anyways, now she's pouting in the corner and everything's gonna be fine. Blade has an interesting take on here, writes, I thought for a moment Sylvie could see the future, because it looked like she was playing with her toys, and it looked like the end scene from Thor Ragnarok with the ship and all that stuff.
Oh, that could be it.
Save Asgard.
And maybe, who knows, maybe it's the fact that she can see the future, and that's why she was able to be like, okay, I can see that I end up destroying the TVA. So I need to make a plan that will lead me to that that end goal.
Yeah.
And she's just hasn't revealed it yet.
Yeah. So that's interesting to see. Welcome late to the party.
Woo!
True to their name, late to the party. But nonetheless, you made it. We're so happy you are here. Let's go ahead and move on to, let me see what is some of the other stuff that I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about Hunter C20.
Oh,
let's talk about her, because very importantly in the previous episode, Sylvie got into her head, and that's how it was revealed that like they weren't created by the timekeepers. They're all variants. They were all taken from their previous timeline. So she's sitting there saying, it's real, it's real, it's real. You know, in the previous episode, obviously they brought her back, and Mobius, both Mobius and Hunter B15 continuously asked, hey, where is she? Is she okay? Did she recover? And when first Renslayer said, oh no, she's dead. And I was thinking, Oh, that's a total lie. They have her in a cell somewhere to question her to see if they can find out more from her side about Sylvie. Or the other suspicion was, we got to erase her memory. She can't remember that she had another life and that she loved Margaritas and she had friends and she was all this and that before she was Hunter C20. So that's really interesting. But obviously Mobius did a little switchy switch with the TemPad and
found out the truth.
Found out the truth that she actually is seeming like she is deceased. But there was an interesting, video footage of Ravonna saying, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. But she was right there in the room with C20 in the questioning. So
either they have completely hid C20 away or they pruned her. My guess is that they pruned her, but it is very possible that she's still alive because they want to either erase her memory.
Yep.
And that's something else that I'm surprised too, is that they would prune her because they very much could have just been like, well, we erase your memory. And I'm kind of curious on how that whole process works of them taking a variant, erasing their memory and making them a member of the TVA.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious on how that whole process works and can they do it to someone that they've already done it to?
Yeah. Black Lala, thank you so much for your super sticker. It's so cute. I want them to have one, but like Navi.
Oh,
wouldn't that be so
cute?
Really cute I don't know why it's so hard to find like
custom
poodle mix, just graphics. I've been trying to find one for Navi for my Twitch channel. It's been like impossible. It's like I see white dogs and then I see poodles, but they're not the same type. And I'm just like, so I commissioned my friend to make one. So the next slot I get to unlock on my Twitch channel, then I will add the Navi. I have two. I have one for Falcor, it's like a fighting Falcor. And then there's a really cute Navi as a Disney princess almost. She's got big blinky watery eyes. It's really, really so cute. So we find out a little bit more about now Mobius also knows that he is a variant, which could potentially explain his obsession and love of jet skis and things like that. And speaking of which, there's a huge thing that took place, but it took place after Loki spent some time inside the time cell, which we get a very surprise but amazing cameo from Lady Sif. When she walked in, I was like, Sif?
I was like, what? What is she? And I'm like,
with her hair, you.
And I kind of called it, but I was like, oh, is it going to be this? Is it going to be a repeat of this terrible moment? And I'm just like, I loved that idea. I love the fact that that's how they kind of torture individuals to kind of repeat this over and over and over again. To break them and then bring them in for questioning.
And, I really thought for sure they couldn't break Loki. Right? I felt like Loki would find a way to be like, look, we'll just talk it out. But after you spend so much time repeated thing over and over, you're just exhausted. So yeah, that is a way to wear down somebody before you go back and interrogate them, because it's kind of like, hey, you want to talk to me? Or you want to go back in that and deal with that over and over and over. And I think one of the most important thing at this point, what Loki has learned through everything, being on Lamentus and meeting Sylvie and being inside the TVA and, all this conversation about like what they know of love and what love is to them. And then Sif saying, you'll always be alone. And I think hearing that just over and over and over, and like emotionally and mentally, you're so beat down from that. It has like, it's gotta take an effect on you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's, between that and the conversation afterwards between him and Mobius, it's kind of like, that's what caused the Nexus event. It's
exactly.
Like, fell in love with a variant of himself, which honestly totally makes sense. I was hoping that they wouldn't go the romantic route for Sylvie and Loki, but at the same time,
kind of works.
You kind of look at it, for Loki specifically, it kind of works.
I saw a meme, and I thought it was hilarious. Because I think it was actually late to the party he put it up, and it was from Doctor Who. Everyone's freaking out that Loki falls in love with himself.
Yeah.
And then Doctor Who's just like, we've done it a couple of times. And I'm just like, that makes sense. That I'm just like, this is hilarious that, for some people who aren't educated to Doctor Who, is that this is something that has actually been a part of their storyline for a while. And I'm just like, this is great that we're getting some of this kind of material too in Marvel stuff as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, Hello What Here says the story of Sif getting her hair cut by Loki is a real story from the Norse mythology. And I believe that Thor was really upset with Loki that he did that to Lady Sif. And I think they had to replace her hair with like golden strings or something like that. That's just like the little bit that I know. I'm sure I can Google it. Late to the Party says Doctor Who did it. Did it all first.
It's kind of like that episode of South Park where they're like, the Simpsons did it. The Simpsons did it. And they're trying to think, Butters is trying to think of a diabolical plan.
Yes.
And he's like, Simpsons have already done it.
Yep.
And it's like, technically, any kind of story has already been done. It's how you do it. That's the trick.
Yeah. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and move because there's a couple of super chats I don't want to get to, but I want them to be relevant to what we're talking about. So while we're in the conversation of, how many people they've questioned, they also dropped that they've had Krees, Titans, vampires. And I was like, vampires, Blade in the MCU confirmed, which I feel like we always kind of knew that was kind of the route.
Well, we know that what is his name is
Marshall Ali.
Yeah,
right.
Ali.
But how were they gonna, so they're, I think, dropping little tiny like hints and Easter eggs and be like, we're establishing it now.
Well, just kind of like what they did for their phase 2 character, or was it phase 3 when Doctor Strange came out? Because they said in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, it was, they were talking about, all these targets that are a threat to Hydra, Stephen Strange kind of a thing. And I'm like, oh, they mentioned him. We know that he's coming. Yeah. So it makes sense that they're starting to drop all of these little tidbits, all of these little fan, what is it called?
Theories?
Not fan theories, but the fact that will get the fans excited. Vampires, to where you're like, oh, when, like, I'll talk about that.
To build excitement.
Yeah, it's to build excitement.
I also want to touch on the very important conversation and realization that Hunter B-15 had, because we love her as Ruby in Lovecraft Country. Yeah. And when they brought her in the show, I was so excited, but I felt like she was like, they weren't really utilizing her until this episode where she realizes something is really off. Where is Hunter C-20? What's going on? Kind of the same realization that Mobius had about being variants themselves and discovering that. And what she did is she went inside Theater 47, which I thought was kind of, I don't know what the lore or any sort of Easter egg is behind that, but that's where Sylvie was being held. And I'm kind of noting it because it was so blatantly in the background that you couldn't miss that she was sitting in Theater 47. I'm like, what Theater 47? I don't know. So if you guys know, drop that in the comments and let us know. But B-15 takes her over back to Rock's cart and was like, what's going on? Is this true? There's like, you can't create memories. Like you can just recall memories. Yeah. So she went ahead and showed B-15 her memory. Now we don't know what she saw. But if you just take a look, and it was so dramatic and it was so good, rain falling down around them, it was all over her face, and it was just this like pure bliss on her face, seeing her memory. And then she says with her closed eyes and just the softest but yet powerful voice, I was happy. I was like, yes, that's why they hired her, because the acting, it's because it's subtle but powerful.
Yes.
And I love that, because that's I feel like for an actor, that's such a delicate balance. You have to, that talent is there. Anyways, so after that, we see both Mobius and B-15, not together, but separately, kind of coming to the realization they are variants. The TVA, like the cake, is a lie. Don't believe it. And so Mobius and Loki coming out of the time cell, it's kind of like, all right, Mobius has finally was like, okay, Loki was telling the truth. They're, we are all variants. Holy crap. Ravonna was waiting for them, and he gives I think Mobius knew that. So he said his final lines of what he's got to say before they shocking part of the episode. They pruned Mobius.
And you're like, what? And if you watch our reaction, that's exactly what I was doing. I was like, what? They just killed Mobius? That's one of our 2 lead characters. How could they do that? And then just a few minutes later.
Yeah, just a few minutes later, as Renslayer, takes Loki and Sylvie to see the timekeepers, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna meet them. Oh my gosh. And I think you kind of knew. You're like, something's off about these guys. I completely bought it because I was like, no, none of that WandaVision fan theory there, Mephisto, blah, blah, blah. No, they are real. Space lizards are real. Until B-15 came in, intervened, helped them out. Sylvie throwing that sword slices. Was it Sylvie who threw it, or was it Loki who threw it?
I think it was.
I want to say it was Sylvie. It makes more sense to be her because it was her. She wanting to do this all along. Slicing off the head of an android, of an animatronic, and you see the rest of them like Disneyland failure, like an animatronic, falling, powering down.
Yeah.
But the laughing too was really creepy. Like whoa, ha, 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 ha. So timekeepers are not real. Sylvie being really like, she's like, well, what now then? This was the plan to get rid of them. They're not even real. So like, what am I supposed to do now? And this very heartfelt, he was about to perhaps proclaim his love, I guess, or his feelings. Yeah. To Loki, grabs her by the shoulder. No one saw this coming. Gets pruned from behind because Renslayer was still there and obviously took the opportunity to do so though. So biggest shocker. And we're just like, wait, so is the rest of the 2 episodes just Sylvie, which I don't mind, but holy crap, that's Tom Hiddleston you just pruned.
And my reaction was just like Black Mono Lala's reaction that he put down in the super chat. I was like, no, how, what, huh? And then there was just a complete brain malfunction to where I'm like, what? How?
Stop computing.
What's glitch in the matrix?
Cannot process.
How can you have the show Loki when you just killed off Loki?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and go to the super chat by Boogietron 2000. I'm so sorry that I made you wait forever. And also thank you so much for your contribution. Boogietron writes, this is probably the WandaVision theory talking. But like everyone else, do you believe the TVA is a means to an end for King the Conqueror to rule all of time, or is the person behind it all the superior Loki? What do you think?
I personally think that they will reveal that it's King the Conqueror who has been like, well, in order for my timeline to be the prominent timeline, I have to somehow control it. So he creates the timekeepers, and it's him making sure that his ultimate success happens. Yeah. And also there's an argument to be said that it wasn't the Avengers that defeated Thanos, but it's actually the timekeepers or whoever is in charge of the timekeepers who did it, because they're the ones who are pruning all of those other timelines. So it is the sacred timeline that exists, to where when Doctor Strange is doing seeing all of his timelines, the reason why it's only one is because all of the other timelines have been pruned. So I am really curious that they will explore that. Doctor Strange seems to be a very prevalent figure in the next phase of the MCU. He's going to be in Spiderman. He's getting his own movie. They're mentioning him in other movies. So it really does seem like it's very possible that he is going to be a heavy-handed figure in this. So I'm so excited to see them have King the Conqueror kind of be the next Thanos, maybe.
And I know that we want to be, especially after WandaVision, everybody, we've been there talking about Mephisto all along, and like Quicksilver and Ralph Boner and all this and that. I think we've learned to kind of just calm down a little bit. It's okay to have the theories, it's fun, but just to calm down a little bit, on the fan theory here. But at the same time, for when we were watching WandaVision, Mephisto was never confirmed there was an actor cast to play Mephisto, but we do know Jonathan Majors is set to play King the Conqueror. So this is a lot more probable than the Mephisto thing, and that's why I do believe that. I'm not saying we will see King the Conqueror at the end of Loki. I would not be surprised if we didn't see him at all.
I think we might get a tease, kind of like at the end of Avengers, perhaps, where you just have that turn and that's it.
Maybe, but and maybe not, who knows, but it is more probable because they do have an actor confirmed to play. So, and plus the connection of, then I kind of retract back to my WandaVision theory, because you want to talk connection, like Mephisto, Agatha, and all that, or Agatha, like it was all connected, because they connect in one way or another, but that connection didn't really play out in WandaVision. So I guess we can apply that. I just feel like it's a little bit more probable because they do have an actor confirmed and announced.
But the thing is, though, here's another little tidbit that will kind of throw a wrench in that, is the fact that we know that the main villain in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is the character Nightmare, because Kevin Feige did announce that. So I'm wondering if that's just a little detour, or if it's kind of like a red herring kind of a thing, to where they're going to think, oh, all of this trouble has been caused by this one character Nightmare, when in actuality it is King the Conqueror kind of a thing. So I'm just excited to all of our theories on where this phase and the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe can go is just so broad. So I'm just really curious and really excited to see whatever they throw at us.
Alternatively, in Boogeytron's second part of the question is, or the person behind it is a superior Loki. I mean, potentially, because they do bring that up a lot. Like, Loki, Hiddleston Loki continues to be like, I am the superior Loki. Even when they got caught by the TVA, they were back. How come she has more security? It's I am this. We should have the same. I'm offended. Does that mean I'm the lesser Loki? So I like that they do try to continue to bring that back. Black Bonalala says, when Loki was pruned, I said no. And
so that was my reaction too.
And I know Black Bono has sent another super chat. We're going to get to it in 2 seconds, because I do want to talk. Oh, that was the picture I wanted to put up. Let me see if I can do it real quick. We got to talk that end credit scene.
Oh yeah,
we got to talk about it.
That is the big. Here it is. That's going to be our big.
Oh yeah, and this is the moment that hurts. Oh, it hurts. Look at his face.
And he's like, no, I almost said it, and I didn't say it fast enough.
It feels like, from everybody's portrayal, that it looks like it hurts too when you get pruned. Like it hurts a lot, because Mobius had that like pain look in his face.
Yeah.
Maybe like a big taser all over your body. But this is what we got, you guys, for the end credit scene there. Loki wakes up and we're like, oh wait, he's not dead. And it's one of those come with me if you want to live thing. And we see all these different variants of Loki. We've got Kid Loki, the classic, I guess I can say, the classic Loki, played by no other than Richard E. Grant. And we have in the credits listed as boastful Loki. At first, I thought maybe Thor, because of the hammer.
Yeah.
But so that's interesting. And then of course, like Crocodile, Gator Loki, Croco Loki.
Gator Loki.
So really interesting to see how this is going to play out. Which, if this is, and we don't know Thor, well, that's boastful Loki there.
Oh.
I'm just saying boastful Loki because it's what was credited in the show. So I'm just going to use that terminology moving forward until they tell us otherwise. But you guys, this was definitely an interesting reveal, because again, I forgot actually at the end of our reaction, or at the end of the episode when the credits started going, I started to like shift and get up and be like, okay, now we get ready to do the review section. Dustin's like, we got to see if there's an end credit. And I was like, oh, right. And indeed there was. So it looks like, and we're not sure if this applies to everybody who's pruned, but perhaps if you're pruned, you don't die. You just get
put away, swept under the rug,
banished somewhere else. But are you banished to a specific time pocket, or are with your other variants? Because in this case, this is like a lot of the Lokis in the same place, and also a lot of the Eagle Eye viewers of the show. I don't think it shows in this picture because it's cropped, but there's the Fallen Avengers Tower.
Yes,
in the background there, if you're facing the photo to the right of Richard E. Grant.
I do remember someone or hearing somewhere a theory that this area that they are in is an alternate universe where the invasion of the Avengers lost the Battle of New York, and the Centauri actually came in and won the battle. So, and then since this is a pocket of time that has been erased, they took this little pocket of time, moved it away from the timeline, and then that's where they store all of the different Lokis. They store all of the different variants, kind of a thing, to prune them, kind of thing. It's their compost pile.
That's
so to speak, all of the pruned branches.
So we're just gonna recycle bin you into this. Yeah, so that's really interesting, and obviously, you know, these other Lokis are going to help our Tom Hiddleston Loki to figure out. I think he's going to really learn more about either the multiverse, different timelines, or the TVA. So I cannot wait until next week. I think someone told me on the internet that like Tom Hiddleston he was teasing like episode 4, episode 5, like you definitely want to tune in for, because these are the big episodes.
Oh yeah.
So I seriously can't wait.
And it also makes a lot of sense that the best way to give exposition to the audience is to give exposition to a character in it that has no idea what's going on. Loki's going to be showing up to this new world going, wait, I thought I was going to be dead. Is this afterlife?
I'm alive.
I'm alive. And they're like, no. This is what's going on. Here's some exposition.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. And also with the inclusion of Kid Loki, they're really starting to round. I'm guessing like the Young Avengers, like they're really rounding out that team.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit, right?
That's right.
Because we've got Kate Bishop. We've got, oh God, what's his name's grandson in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? We saw Eli.
Oh yeah, Patriot.
Who else are we getting for Young Avengers? Why is my brain stopped working?
Oh, well, yeah, we know what is it called?
Kate Bishop.
Kate Bishop. We know
Kid Loki.
Well, we don't know if Kid Loki's.
Well, that's true. It's just I'm putting him in the category because of age.
Miss Marvel.
Yes, that's it. Yes. Yeah, so I think this is just a slow build as they get ready, because they're done with the previous phase. Now they're building up to future phases, which is cool to see. So I wonder in the next episode if we start at where Loki is right now, and so he's having a conversation with all the other variants, or do we go right back into the Timekeepers like throne room, and it's Sylvie and Ravonna having that conversation and how that's going?
Where does the episode start?
And now what happens to the TVA now that, you know, especially there were guards that were in there that saw this happen? Like, does Ravonna still have the ability to call guards on Sylvie, and now she's kind of on her own because she fend all of them off? Or are they just going to sit inside that room and really figure out, you know, the history, and she's going to maybe reveal some truths? And also, are we going to see if Loki being pruned puts him in that space, if Mobius is also in a different space? So there's a lot that we can't wait to see for the next episode there.
So I'm sorry, I was also showing. No, I'm sorry. I was trying to secretly show you, tell you how many more super chats we have.
Oh, you can just say it. It's fine. You don't. It's like because you put up like a hand, and I was like, I don't understand.
I'm doing hand signals.
I don't understand. Was it this one?
The blue one? Yeah, there was one blue one and 2 green ones.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, my apologies.
You can just say it, because then it's gonna cause more confusion. Yeah, I was just like, I don't understand.
What are you saying?
Communicate with your words. All right. Black Lala with the super chat. Thank you so much. Right. What do you guys think of the TVA world? I really like it so far. But I think a lot of it's kind of like Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Where a lot of the facade is about to crumble. I think, especially with the reveal. Like, how did these guards, because there were several other TVA like Minutemen people in the throne room, I like to call it the throne room, when Sylvie took down the fake timekeepers.
Yeah, they saw that they're not real.
What's going in through their head? Like, oh my gosh, or were they privy to the information that others aren't?
And it's weird too that also like the Infinity Stones don't work there. A lot of magic doesn't work there,
right? So,
but I also think that if you were to take those Infinity Stones and take them to their original timeline, then they would start having the power back. I think just out of time, they don't get any of their they don't have any of their power or magic.
Yeah. Speaking of the TVA in the world, Martin asks us suspicious about Miss Minute. I also feel like she's got a bigger part to play because it's not just like any voice actor, or it's, you know, it's Tara Strong. Yeah. So I feel like I would love to see more of her as well, because I think she's we have a little Miss Minute clock here. I think she's super cute, super cool. Let's see this one.
Yes.
Okay. This super chat is from Storm Frantic 15. Thank you so much for your super chat. Storm writes, are you guys going to see Black Widow right when it releases? Just wondering if y'all will do a review video on it. If so, that will be dope. Well, we have really good news for you. We actually did see it at a press screening just last week. And we do have a non-spoiler review up for Black Widow up on the channel, ready to view. So you can go ahead and check that out. We will also be doing a spoiler review. We'll film it next week, and it won't be on Patreon. Most of our, all. What are you doing?
Sorry.
That was Navi. That was not Navi. That was Dustin.
Me.
After I blame Navi for anytime the camera moves, is Navi, and she's sitting over here, sitting pretty, taking a nap. And Dustin's like, I'm just gonna.
I stretch out my legs.
He is pretty tall. We need extra leg room on flights for Dustin. So spoiler review for movies usually go on the Patreon page, and our Patreon, we literally have 2 tiers. $1 for general support if you just want to help us out. $3 tier for bonus videos such as mostly spoiler reviews and sometimes trailer reactions. So the spoiler review will not be uploaded onto the Patreon page until after the movie comes out. I'll probably give it until like if it comes out on the 9th, I'll probably give it until like the 11th. So it has some time. So people have time to go and watch the movie, whether on Disney Plus, Premium Access, or in theaters. And then they can tune in, because we got lots to say about things that we can't talk about because it'll ruin plots of the movie. We don't want to do that. So, but yes, the non-spoiler review is currently up right now. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. Anything else we want to say?
Yes, there's one more that Storm Frantic 15 put in there.
Oh, no, I missed. Oh, here. Sorry. All right. Also pertaining to Loki, Mobius will be back. Oh?
Yep.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because, but okay, sorry. Because there's a scene in the trailer where he's in a car. We haven't seen that yet. Mm-hmm. I wonder where that will be. Oh.
Well, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here. There's 2 different possibilities that could be. One, actually, there's 3, I guess we can think about. One, yes, it is the original Mobius that got pruned, that went somewhere else, and then Loki's able to find him and bring him back. It also could be an alternate version of Mobius, to where he doesn't have the memories of the Mobius that got pruned. Or they could have had a scene that they edited from the original, because there
they just shot it just to throw off the scent.
There are a lot of times
they've done that before.
In trailers, they will show scenes that aren't in the final cut of the show or movie. So there are a couple different possibilities, but yes, that heightens the ability that there is going to be either the original Mobius or another Mobius that does come back. And so, and honestly, that's what I think. I don't think they will have officially killed off their lead characters as of right now. There might be a time where, his death is kind of final.
Right.
Mobius' death is final. But it makes sense that they would bring him back for one or both of the next couple of episodes.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Can you believe there's only 2 more?
I know. I'm so sad that of all series,
why is it so short?
This one is the shortest.
Oh my gosh. Hello What says, waiting for Mobius to show up in a red sports car going, ka-chow. If we're not going to get a wow, I want a ka-chow.
Wow.
Oh, God. Amazing. Shane White says, 55 likes. Thank you so much. If you're tuning in, if you've enjoyed our discussion, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Really helps us out here on YouTube. And for more videos like this one, trailer reactions, movie reviews, go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on anything. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of all the new videos that we have coming up. We got lots of vlogs coming up too. I got at least 2.
This poor one right here has been spending so many hours of every single day, either editing
and getting nowhere,
filming or streaming. I mean, Wendy has been busting her butt.
I do enjoy to oh, now it's 56 as Hello What. Forgot to thank you so much, Hello What. I do enjoy streaming on Twitch, so if you want to check me out, play cozy games such as Paper Mario and Famicom Detective Club, and hopefully I'll have to move my setup out to the living room, but for D&D Dark Alliance on the Xbox, that probably will be next. All right, you guys, I think we've come to the part where we are going to go ahead and end today's show, as we've got some stuff to do today. Yep. So we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. We hope you have a very safe and very fun and very relaxing 4th of July weekend from me and Dustin and Navi.
Be careful with the fireworks.
Be careful with if you have pets, Don't leave them out in the backyard and not watch them. Make sure your backyard is escape proof so they don't run away. I would just say,
they say 4th of July is the day that the what is it called? Not the pounds, but those are the ones that when dogs and animals escape the most.
Yeah, they go missing the most. And it's true in our neighborhood, we usually see, like, if you have like the neighbor app or the Ring app, or you see posts on telephone poles and things like that around the neighborhood, usually those posts go up after 4th of July because people tend to leave their pets outdoors overnight and the boom booms scare them. So you guys have a wonderful 4th of July. We will be back next Wednesday with another live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you real soon. And again, happy 4th of July. Eat, oh gosh, I'm trying to take this off.
Barbecue.
Eat all the stuff. Enjoy. Have a good one. Bye, guys.